serious.
The history of the world. Yeah, quite a big topic.
As we all know, the world began with the Big Bang, which wiped out all the dinosaurs and left Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. Now the garden was packed with apples, as depicted by this tree, which has 6. Now Eve loved apples, and one day she ate one. Sorry, that was William Tell. He's not meant to be in this bit. Anyway, God was very particular about his fruit, and so cast Adam and Eve out of heaven.
Get out, you apple-thieving buggers!
And they landed in Noah's Ark. But Earth was flooded, because Moses had left the tap on. Anyway, when the flood was over, Adam and Eve were given the task of repopulating the Earth. They had thousands of children, which were later named the Romans. The most famous Roman of all was Roman Polanski, the film director who directed Spartacus in the popular movie Kirk Douglas.
I'm Kirk Douglas. I'm Kirk Douglas. Oh, I'm Kirk Douglas.
Another famous Roman was Julius Caesar, famous for inventing the hedge trimmer and carrying around 2 freshly trimmed twigs on his ears until the day he died. And what a death it was, stabbed in the back by his best friend Brutus, who was jealous because the best thing he'd ever invented was the orbital sander.
A2, Brute!
Yeah. Around the same time, there was another important event taking place. That's right, it's the birth of Jesus. Now, as anyone who's been to a school nativity will know, there was Jesus and Mary and Joseph. What do we have here? Some shepherds. Yes, and 3 wise men with gold, frankincense, and what looks a bit like myrrh. They had hats, and there was Mariah Carey singing a song. It was huge. Jesus became a carpenter and spread the word of Christianity and cut-price dining room furniture. If you would like to know more about Jesus, try reading the Bible or asking Cliff Richard. The Romans kind of hung around for a while before going back to Italy and leaving the English and Scottish to fight it out between themselves. What does that say? England versus where? What? Oh, Scotland. Right, yes. England versus Scotland. This was until the famous Scottish king, Sean Connery, made his legendary speech. Yes, my Scottish chums, why do we want to go to England? It's full of the bloody English. He and Scotland's leading actor at the time, Mel Gibson, then single-handedly built Hadrian's Wall to keep out the English so that the Scottish could keep all the rain for themselves. History then goes a bit dull again. Nothing happens, and then bang! Christopher Columbus discovers America.
Here it is, yeah.
Land of the free and home of the gun. We are the British. Give us America. The Americans then turn on the British and tell them to go away.
Go away.
And they do, apologising for their brutish behaviour on the way.
Okay, toodle pip.
Terribly sorry.
Invent Disneyland so we can visit.
The Americans then set up shop on their own, writing a constitution, which includes the right to bear arms, although very few Americans choose to have arms like a bear. The British, having had a taste of colonising stuff, decided that they wanted to colonise the rest of the earth, and so it led to the British Empire. And what a fine empire it was, built on good old-fashioned blood and misery. At one point, the British ruled 1/3 of the earth, and Queen Victoria was quoted as saying, "I don't care who dies. The main thing is that the map is a nice, shiny British red." The fall of the empire gave way to one of history's finest men, Mahatma Gandhi, who championed peaceful protest and finally turfed the British out of India.
Charge!
Hey!
What? Chill out. Yeah, good idea.
Well, we should go. Over the next few years we had the Industrial Revolution. Fred Dibner invented the steam engine, the Wright brothers invented the aeroplane, and Jimmy Savile invented antiseptic cream. The 20th century was dominated by, yes, you guessed it, war. The first began when Archduke Les Ferdinand was shot, and, not wanting to be left out, the entire world got involved for a good old scrap. Around this time we also had the suffragette movement, where women got the vote. Not only that, but they were allowed passports and driving licenses as well, although men drew the line at handing over the TV remote. Adolf Hitler, author of Mein Kampf and the Tales of Peter Rabbit, kicked off the next war in 1939, and the world had a good old scrap again, this time ending in a bit of a bigger bang, when America dropped 2 atom bombs on Japan. How did it all end? Well, just before the Berlin Wall fell on him, Adolf Hitler signed the Magna Carta, which ended World War II and freed Nelson Mandela from Robben Island.
Yay!
Sick of this godforsaken planet, we eventually left and crashed a space probe into Mars. There were 2 great things about space exploration. Firstly, it gave us something to beat the Russians at, and secondly, it gave us satellites. Because, my little viewing chums, communication is the main thing that will power us into the future.
Yeah, hello?
Hi, Steve.
Sorry, mate. Wrong number.
This has been the history of the world, and remember, if you didn't hear it here,
It isn't worth knowing.